Hello students, I welcome you all in my class. Today we will discuss one of the most important topic, work of wind of chapter number 3, Our Changing Earth of class 7 Geography. Dear student, as you know, the wind perform erosional as well as depositional activity, and due to that it leads down to the formation of several landform, and that we will discuss today. The role of winds in altering the landscape is particularly noticeable in deserts, where the soil is sandy, dry, and loose, and where aridity or dryness is the major feature. It is very clear to you all that in the desert region, there is scarcity of water and the temperature is very high. Okay, that is why the soil is very sandy, dry, and loose. Okay, the availability of vegetation and moisture is also extremely low due to lack of rainfall. In desert region, there is scarcity of water due to the lack of rainfall, and that is why the availability of vegetation and moisture is extremely low. As the winds freely blow in the sandy areas, they carry loose sand particles which act as escarping and polishing rocks to form different features. When these wind blow, they carve out, they act as escarping and polishing tools to the rock. Okay, and due to the scarping and polishing of this rock, they lead down to the formation of different features. Many oases are formed in this way. Okay, when the groundwater comes to the surface, suppose when the groundwater comes to the surface, in the desert, and due to the removal of the deposition of sand, it leads to the formation of oases over there. Wind also lifts sand particles and deposits them in far off areas. You all know that the wind performs, the transportation activity of transportation. It lifts the sand particles, and later on what it does, it deposits it, in far off region. When the wind comes in contact with harder rocks, the sand-blasting effect of the wind carves the rock into peculiar looking pillars called rock pedestal. These rock pedestal are special features which have been found, by the wind. And when the wind came in contact with the harder rock, it carves the rock. It has sandblasting effect, and it carves down the rock into rock pedestal. And after that, at times erosion of this rock is maximum at the base, as the wind cannot carry the sand to a greater height, leading to the formation of mushroom rock or gore. After rock pedestal, what is formed? Mushroom rock is formed. And why mushroom rock is formed? Look here, this is mushroom rock. What happened when the wind blow? And wind carry sand particles along with it, and 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 when it blows, it cannot move to a greater height. Okay, that is why the rock is this erosion is maximum at the base of the wind. Okay, at the base of the wind, and it which leads down to the formation of this Moshu rock, and it is also known as gore. Okay, in some areas. Numerous examples of these are visible, like in Sahara Desert of Africa. You can find out this type of mushroom rock in Sahara region. When the speed of the wind decreases, it deposits the sand and particles it was carrying along with it. As more and more sand get deposited here, a hill of sand known as sand dune is formed. Okay, when the speed of the wind decrease, what it does, all the sediments, all the deposits which it is carrying with itself, it start depositing it. And when all the sand particles they get deposited down, they leads down to a formation of a feature called sand dune. What it is? Sand dunes. Okay, this is Barkan. Okay, and it is example of one of the sand dune. Okay, this is formed due to the deposition of sand particles. Okay, when the wind deposits all the sediments or sand particles which it is carrying with itself, this type of feature is formed. Sand dunes are shaped by the movement of wind. Okay, basically their shape is, is dependent on the movement of the wind. The direction in their shape is basically is in the is in the direction of the movement of wind. According to their shape, some sand dunes may be crescent shape called Barkhan, while others may be longitudinal shapes. Okay, as just I told that the shape of the sand dunes depend on the direction of the wind. Likewise, crescent shape Barkhans and longitudinal shapes are formed. These sand dunes are not static. Instead, they move in direction of the wind. The sand dunes basically what we do see in all the landform which are formed, generally they are permanent, almost they are permanent in nature. But the sand dunes are the only examples of the landform formed by the exogenic forces. They are not static, they are not fixed, they are continuously changing. And why they are continuously changing? They are continuously changing due to the movement of the wind. The wind, they always change their direction, and that is why the shape of the sand dunes also goes on changing. Such sand dunes can be found in both the Indian and the Sahara desert. Where we can find these sand dunes? We can find them in Indian desert, the Thar desert and the Sahara desert. There we can find it. However, migrating sand dunes pose a threat to human settlement, forest and farmland. Okay, so here we are getting that these sand dunes, they are a threat also. They are a threat to whom? They are threat to human settlement, forest and farmlands. Sometimes fine sand can be carried to great distances. Okay, fine sand they can be carried to the great distances and deposited over large areas, forming loess deposits. Okay, see these loess deposits are basically they are very fine grained sand, and as they are very fine, their weight is also very less. That is why they very easily carried down by the wind to a great to far off places, and that is why they form loess deposits, and which are deposits of silt usually yellow in color and very fertile. See, students, these loess deposits, they are, deposits of silt. Basically, they are deposits of silt, and they are yellow in color, and they are very fertile in nature. These loess may bury all landforms in an area. They have the capacity to bury all the landform, because they are widespread to large area. Okay, and that is why they can bury all the landform found in that particular area. The most extensive deposit of loess is found in the Loess Plateau of Huanghe River Basin in China. Say in China, in Huanghe River Basin, we can find this Loess deposit. It is the best example of Loess. Okay, students. So this much for today only. Till then, take care. Bye.